Okay, so you might be asking me, why am I doing so many live streams now on this election and post-election? Why am I doing it? There's a simple answer, because so many people right now are hurting, and I hate to say it like this, driving themselves driving themselves crazy with simple things that can be prevented, but they choose to go another route, and they're winding up with a ton of anxiety, and which will lead to depression, more depression, and it's going to be a vicious cycle until you can break the cycle. Until you can break the cycle. So I want to remind you of one thing. I'm here to get you to feel better. I'm not here to deliver any political message whatsoever. I don't have an agenda. And besides, the election is done. So even if I had an agenda, it wouldn't do anybody any good, because the election's over. But I am here, and I think you're here too, because you want to feel better every day. You want to get on with your life. You will not believe the number of messages I've been getting, and this started before the election. The number of messages I've been getting telling me how nervous and anxious people are. Now, whenever somebody messages me or emails me, it's always private. I never reveal anybody's name. So if you ever share anything with me, your secrets are with me. Don't worry about that. Please don't worry. But in general senses, I can tell you that so many people are not doing well. I've heard today, I've heard of today and yesterday, I've heard of uh, schools being locked down because the kids are up in arms and go not up in arms, not literally, not there's no arms. I'm not talking about shootings, but kids are having real issues with nervousness, anxiety, and more. So there've been like school lockdowns. There have been crazy stories, Nakama, crazy stories. I witnessed something earlier today in a grocery store. A young woman that was the cashier would not would not check somebody out. There was a man, an older man with I think with a MAGA hat. It was a red MAGA hat. There was an older man that she refused to wait on. She refused to let him come into her line, and that caused like a whole ruckus. And is that the direction we want to go in? Is that right? I've been receiving I've been receiving messages in my Facebook feed about people that are so disturbed right now. There is so much vitriol and hatred for anybody that voted opposite of them. Again, not a political message, and probably I've never taken a formal poll, but just because of the nature of my channel with microdosing, using psilocybin, using magic mushrooms, because of the nature of my channel, I'm just guessing. I'm guessing that the majority are probably Democrat. I'm guessing. I don't know. It's nothing, and there's nothing scientific about this, but I'm just guessing the majority of my followers are probably liberal leaning Democrat. I'm guessing. Isn't that supposed to be, or aren't isn't that supposed to be the party of kindness and no hate? Isn't that supposed to be, aren't liberals and Democrats supposed to be like the kindest people, and not spewing hatred, aren't they? What's going on? Why is there, then tell me why there's so much hatred. Okay, Trump won. A lot of people hate him. I'm not commenting on that. He did win, and he's the president. So you can choose to go on social media now and spew hatred to everybody that you're assuming voted for Trump. You don't know. Again, like I said in a previous live stream. By the way, thanks for being here. If you're here, just give me a little chat. Info warrior Eric. What's going on, Eric? I don't agree with MAGA, but I respect people's freedom of belief and right to free. Right. That's Eric. Exactly my point. Exactly. And yesterday on my show, on my live stream, I read a message I got from a Cuban American immigrant whose family came here in 1965 to get away from a socialist country. And what they had to do to come here was go through Mexico City, and they were detained there for 3 months. They left every single one of their possessions back in Cuba to try to start over and have a fair shake at life in the free world. And this person that I'm speaking of, he's a follower, and I do know him. He's a follower. He voted for Trump. And a liberal person could say that anybody that votes for Trump has hatred. They hate women. They hate gays. They hate people of color. They spew hatred, right? But it's not true, because this guy that I know who voted for Trump is I was talking to somebody earlier today, one of the kindest people that I know on this planet. And he and his family went through so much hardship to get here. He is a person of color. He is an immigrant. He has gay people as friends. I know that. I know, like I said, I know the guy. He doesn't have a piece of hate in his body, but he's still hated. Is that right? Hey, life is beautiful. Hello, I stay neutral with Paul. Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, I'm not saying that Trump is good or bad, or I'm not saying that Harris is good or bad. The election's over. Okay, the reason I'm doing this again is because I'm seeing more hatred today than I saw yesterday. And again, people come to my channel here to feel better. And so I feel I have this I have this what's the word I'm looking for? I have I've got a mental block. That's what I've got. I've got a duty to help anybody that comes to my channel feel better. It's about mental health. And if anybody thinks that holding a grudge, having hatred, making generalizations about what people are like if they voted for a certain candidate, if anybody thinks that's going to be beneficial for their mental health, then we need to have a little private conference. Again, I want you to feel better, not worse. And if you keep the hatred going, and I'm not saying you, I'm not pointing fingers, but I've gotten enough emails and messages to know that many, it might not be you, but I've gotten enough correspondence that I know many of you are doing not so well. I know that is a fact because I get the messages. Yeah. Eric says, Info Warrior, Eric says one can disagree, but yeah, hate does no good. I got a message on one of yesterday's videos. I want to read this to you because it's really good. I really like it, and it means a lot. I think it's really important that I read this. Let me see if I can find it. I have to find it first, and I might not be able to find it so easily because let's see. Here's a good way to find it because I think I actually put it on my Facebook. I liked it so much. Here's what he said. Person that wrote this to me, and it's so true. When we hate, it's simply a projection of the hatred of ourselves. The hated person is a scapegoat and an easy target to project onto to avoid looking at ourselves and our own evil. And let me ask you a question. Honest question. And yes, life is beautiful. Yes, it's very draining for anybody to hate. But here's a question I want to ask you guys. Do you know of anyone who is really, really happy with their life, I'd say, like, as close to 100% happiness as you can get with their life, with the way their lives are going. Do you know of anybody that fits that category that has hatred towards other people? I'm going to bet no. Because when somebody is fulfilled, somebody's fulfilled, they're living their lives the way they should be living them and doing all the things that, the things that I've taught over the past several years. When they're doing those things, hatred doesn't have a place. So there's no such thing as hatred in your life. Even if somebody crosses you the wrong way, you learn to let it go, and you learn to not hold a grudge. And I've been teaching that for probably at least 2 decades. You don't hold a grudge and you don't harbor hatred. Because if you do either of those, you're only hurting yourself. Yeah. No, that's right. Correct. The correct answer is it would be very difficult to know. That's right. Life is beautiful. It's very difficult to know somebody personally who is 100% fulfilled in their life and they're hating people. The two don't go together. So here's what I'm going to say. Stop the hatred. Stop the horrible, horrible incendiary posting that's going on. I saw a post. Somebody asked a question the other day. Somebody asked a question, and in their post, this gets too unbelievable. People, in their post, they said, if you voted for Trump, do not answer the question. What kind of person is that? It can't be a happy person, I hate to say, and I want you're following me again for a reason. I want you to be happy. I want you to have inner happiness here. I don't want you walking around holding on to things like grudges and hatred because that's not going to get you to where you want to be. You're not going to feel good. Don't you want to feel good every day and get on with our lives? Look, he won. He's president. You're not going to change it. And no, I don't want to hear this bullshit like he's not my president. Well, guess what? If you live in the US of A, he is your president. You might not like the fact, but he's your president. And why don't we wish him the best? Why don't we hope that he can end the wars? Why don't we hope that he can make this economy incredible? Why don't we hope that he can keep us safe instead of the horrible hatred that's going on out there that many people, I'm going to say it, I'm not proud of this. Many people in the Democratic Party are spreading hatred right now, and it's got to stop because it's not helping. And I'm concerned about you mainly. It's not helping you because if you've got hatred, if you're harboring it, you're going to be asking me one day how to get more and more and more and more magic mushrooms because you're not feeling right. And do you want to be doing that the rest of your life, just eating more and more magic mushrooms and hoping that helps? But when you're not solving the root of the cause, the root of the problem, no, I'm all for psilocybin. You know that. I love magic mushrooms. I think they're a wonderful plant medicine. I love them. There's a time and a place to use them properly as medicine. But the ultimate goal is to do the side work, the work alongside of the magic mushrooms to get your life to where it should be. So then if and when you still continue to use them, and I still do, but I use them for deeper reasons now to understand more about like what's going on, what is everything here, spirituality. There's so many beautiful reasons to use them, but don't use them because you want to get hatred out of your system when you're the one that's harboring the hatred. Don't do that. Hi, Sylvia. Hey, Sylvia, great to see you here. Thank you. I'm so glad you're here. Let's see. Let me catch up with some comments. Info Warrior, Eric. Freudians speak about projective identification. It's an ego defense mechanism. Yep. We see in others what we hate about. That's related to what that's exactly right. That's related to exactly what I just read a few minutes ago. That's exactly right. When we're not happy with ourselves, when there's something deep inside that we're not happy with, we see that and project it onto others. Hope for the best, wake up with a smile. I try to smile every day because, you know, I admit there's craziness in this world. Absolute sheer, if I can say, if I can say it because it's a live stream, so you all are cool, right? I mean, there's sheer fucking craziness in this world. Yes. But a lot of things we can't control. I can't control Putin. I can't control the Ayatollah over in Iran. I can't control a lot of people really, but these are we can't really control Kim Jong Un. But we can hope that we have a strong leader that can either, I don't know, work some type of magic or deals or something, so these endless wars will end. And if Trump can do that, let's be in favor of that. Does anybody disagree with that? If Trump can help us get ahead, even if you didn't vote for him, let's all be together and be in favor of that. We all have a common goal, and that's to be better, to feel better, to have a better country. And you have to admit, there's a lot of bad stuff going on in this country too. And I'll tell you something else. I want you to get this out of your vocabulary. Again, I'm giving you suggestions. I can't make you do anything. I'm giving you suggestions, try to help you. Stop saying stop. I shouldn't point my finger. I just like, okay, I'm gonna sit on my hands. Okay, I'm not pointing at anybody, right? Okay, I'm not pointing. Stop saying, but he's a convicted felon. Stop that. Just stop it. Okay, we all know. You don't have to keep saying, I can't believe a convicted felon got elected president. Just stop saying it. It doesn't mean anything anymore. Oh my God. Let's, like Life is Beautiful just said, learn to love. Learn to love. Life is beautiful. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Because if we all learned to love each other, I wouldn't be doing this live stream right now, because we'd all be happy, we'd all be peaceful, we'd all be loving and not hating. But the reason I'm doing it, unfortunately, is because I am seeing so much horrific stuff out there, especially on social media. I'm going to just, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up my Facebook randomly, just totally random. I'm going to look at my feed and I'm going to pull up, let's see. Let me see. Okay. Well, maybe that's a good sign. I got to scroll a little bit further. I've got to scroll down a little bit further to find something that's horrible. Wow. Okay. Well, I got one. I'm not going to give a name or anything, but this person just says speechless. And she shows a picture of the Statue of Liberty, like, crying. It is that gonna get you feeling better? Is that going to get you to reach your goals any quicker or faster? Showing a picture of the Statue of Liberty crying. Hmm. Well, the good news is, okay, I think I figured out why. I think I figured out why it's a little more difficult for me to find a really horrible hate filled post, because guess what? When I see them now, I unfollow the person. And I want you to do the same thing. I want you to either unfollow or block anyone that's spewing hatred on either side. Again, I say this is not political. Not a political show. It's an anti-hate show. I don't I don't like hate. Hmm. Okay, well, I'll tell you something. I could have maybe I blocked them all. Here's a great post. Does anyone know how to get a cat to sleep with you? Okay, that's beautiful. Does anyone know how to get a cat to sleep with you? At least there's no hate there. Hmm. This person says got to watch The View today. Well, I disagree. Don't watch The View. The reason, first of all, they don't know what they're talking about. Second of all, there's a ton of hate in that show, a ton of hate. Anybody disagrees with me, just watch it. There's a ton of hatred, a ton of misinformation and hatred. So turn off The View, turn off any news. You don't need the news right now because no matter what news you're watching, it's going to probably be skewed and it's probably not going to do you any good. So turn off the news. The interesting thing is, I really must have blocked a lot of these people because yesterday in my feed, I looked down and like every single post in my feed was like spewing hatred. Now I'm not seeing it. So either people are getting a little bit better or I blocked them all. I'm not sure which one. Maybe a combination. You got to let love rule. Lenny Kravitz. Yes. Let love. Life is beautiful. It took me years to get there. That used to be my profile name. Now I can say life is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Love it, love it. You guys, Eric stopped watching cable news in 2001. I gotta be honest with you. I wish I could say the same. I wish I could. I wish I could admit that. Sometimes I do turn it on because first I do have a podcast and I do need to be up on top of things. And even if it's a lot of hatred, I still need to see it because I need to talk about it and help people. So I want to kind of get the temperature, what's going on in the room. I need to get the temperature. So, and right now, maybe, maybe it's calming down a little bit. I hope it is. We have to let it go. I'll give you an example. Here in Salt Lake City, so I guess it was about 4 years ago, roughly 4 years ago. And the reason I remember that is because I was talking to a very nice young woman in my neighborhood. She was driving by. She stopped the car. We had a chat, and she was like visibly upset, shaking. And I said to her name was Taylor, and I can use her first name. It's okay because she doesn't live around here anymore. She moved out of state. So I said, Taylor, I said, what's wrong? And she's looking. Now, this was roughly let's say summer of 2020. And I said, what's wrong, Taylor? She said she's worried about Trump. Now, remember, he was already almost 4 years into his presidency. He said, I'm worried. I'm really, really worried about Trump. I said, well, what do you mean? What are you worried about? And she said, I'm worried that he's going to start World War III. And I said, well, he probably won't. He doesn't have a lot of time left in his, the election's coming up, and he probably won't because his term is almost over. This is so. All fairness, I can't remember this before the election or not. Might have been after the election. Maybe Biden already won, and she was still concerned that he had like a few months left. That might have been it. I think he's going to start World War III. And I said, well, why do you think that? And she said, because my friends are all saying that. And I said, you're hanging around the wrong friends then, because he's not. He's not going to. Why would he start World War III? That doesn't make any sense to me. So turn off the news. Don't watch The View. Turn it all off. Go out in nature. Read a good book. Meditate. It's November here in Utah. If you're here, come ski a little bit with me in a couple weeks. We're going to be skiing in like 2 weeks. Come ski a run or two with me. I'd love to have you. That would be the coolest thing in the world. Do something productive. Start a business, start a podcast, do something productive and stop with the hatred. I think I've said enough, right? I don't want to keep repeating myself, but again, you've got to get yourself out of this pattern of hate and we will all be okay. We're going to be better. We're going to be better. I promise you. Any final questions before I leave you? Anything? Anything? What do you have for me? Then I'm going to leave you. I'm going to let you go wherever, whatever time zone you're in. You can have some dinner. I don't know where you are. You might be. I know Eric's in Toronto. I know Life is Beautiful is somewhere that in North Carolina. I'm getting good at this. Sylvia somewhere. I think Sylvia might be. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Sylvia might be in Wisconsin somewhere. I think. I'm thinking that. No more questions. Okay. No more. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here and putting up with my BS. But as crazy as that sounds, I'm actually sincere about that because I really want to help. And the only way I can help, sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it has to be a little bit uncomfortable before you can start feeling better. And the uncomfortableness is you might be wrong. You might be wrong if you're spewing hatred towards people that do not agree with you politically. You might be wrong to do that. Okay. I do love you. Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much. And Eric, and Life is Beautiful, Sylvia, and anybody else here that's on the live stream that didn't get into the chat. I truly, truly appreciate you being here. And all of you that are going to be watching this recorded at some point, I appreciate you too. Of course, we'd rather have you live, but everybody's got a busy life and you're all doing your thing. And Dr. Dave has nothing to do in his life. He's basically got nothing going and he's just sitting at his computer. No, that's a joke. That's not true. I have stuff going and I'm loving my life and I'm really happy. And I'm at a part of my life where I can pretty much do what I want. And it's thanks, Life is Beautiful. And can I call you by your real name? Is that okay, or do you want to stick with your Life is Beautiful there? And we can do either way. But here's what I'll do. It's close enough. It's close enough. I'll say goodbye, Nakama, because you're all Nakama. And again, if you're brand new, Nakama. If you've been with me for a while, you know what Nakama means. It's kind of like our family and tribe and group of people that are kind of all like-minded and hanging out together. So I do love you. And catch me on the next live stream. I appreciate you. And just look out. There will be one coming. I don't know when, but there'll be one coming soon enough, I promise, because I've got still a lot to talk about. Oh, and I've got a podcast episode coming out tomorrow, Friday, in case you're watching this recorded. So tomorrow here means Friday, November 8th. I talk about some things I've actually never talked about before, and I go deeper than the previous one. So if I can help a few people in that one, that would be great too. Okay. Love you. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.